We welcome in head coach Josh McDaniels. Coach, before we get to Denver, we look back at Tennessee, the second half defense I want to get into.
Yep.
What was so positive there? They scored on their first 3 drives, the adjustment at halftime, and how you were able to pick up the momentum.
Yeah, I thought we played better early down defense, stayed out of the third and shorts, which they converted some of those in the first half, and were able to create some negative plays, and created some pressure and some penetration in the running game. Hit the quarterback a little bit, which was important, and we tried to tighten up the coverage, and so I just think we played better overall team defense, which gave us an opportunity to kind of make our way back into the game. And again, it goes back to trying to play 4 quarters, but definitely some bright spots there in the second half.
So with the personnel you had, tightening up that defense in the second half, closing down those windows, really took away the Titans' passing game, and they wanted to run it and bleed some clock.
They did, and I give a lot of credit to our corners because, Rock was dealing with some things, Nate was dealing with some things. So Amik went in there and played. Sam Webb, the rookie, went in there and played. So, had to have some guys step up and play. And again, that was what was called for in terms of the way we tried to tighten the coverage up.
Yeah, and Matt Collins had a big game. And again, his ability to just get the targets but make the big catches in crunch time. What was that like?
Yeah, they double teamed Darren and Devontae a number of times, double digits clearly in the game. And they were trying to force the ball to go to somebody else. Derek read the coverage pretty well and saw that. And then, Mac was able to make the plays when his opportunities were presented to him. And we're going to need people to do that. Right. When you see teams trying to take away, 1 or 2 of your best players with 2 men, then somebody else is isolated in single coverage, and those guys got to do damage.
There's been some fair and ridiculous debate about targets, and you're getting it all the time at press conferences. And I wanted to stay with that because the theory, there's only one football, so we could be talking about this all year. There's going to be someone who doesn't get the targets, but all these guys stick together and say they want to win, and they do. So this target question is going to continue to come up with all these weapons.
That's right, and I think the biggest thing for us is we got to keep telling the quarterback, throw it to the right guy. And sometimes, sometimes look, one-on-one doesn't mean he's wide open, but you give him an opportunity. And then other times when it's double coverage or the coverage says you really can't throw it here because there's too many bodies there, then Derek has to do a good job of being disciplined and taking what the defense has given us. So there's no shortcut to this. We're getting used to how defenses are playing us. What the scouting report says before we get into the game is not the same as the way we're being played. And so we're now learning. We're really, you kind of take the scouting report with a grain of salt now. And when you have players like Devontae and Darren and Hunter, sometimes defenses do different things to try to take them away. And so when they do those things, we have to adjust. Hopefully we can build that into our game plan. But again, it ultimately comes back to being able to execute, and wherever the ball goes, we got to be able to come through.
In regards to Derek, from what you saw in the past and now after 3 games, could he be better playing more up-tempo? Does he like playing with speed in practice? Is that something we could be seeing more of?
Yeah, Derek does a good job. Derek does a good job of a lot of things because he sees it so well.
Right.
He's a smart guy, veteran player, seen a lot of things. So, tempo is something that we could certainly, get into a little bit more as we go forward. And again, I've said this to our team, since we put in our offense the very first day. Regardless of what we choose to do, execution is the number one thing we have to do. So if you can go fast and run bad plays, it doesn't really do much for you. If you get, big or small or run it or throw it, if you don't execute it, you're not going to go very far.
Quick comment on Josh flying in and playing, what he was going through, and the versatility you've been seeing with him and all the running backs.
Yeah, proud of the effort that he gave us. Boy, he wasn't feeling well last week. And so it's a tribute to him and how much he wanted to help us try to win the game, to come in there and do what he had to do to get himself ready to play. Played more than I probably thought he was gonna. But that was because he was telling us, I'm okay, I can stay in here and do some things. So, no, it's the kind of effort and unselfish behavior that we've seen from a lot of our guys here. They just want to help our team win.
So Denver, they're top 3 in almost every defensive category here. So looking at the tape this week, what we see from their edge rushers, let's start with that in protection.
Yeah, it's funny because we've told our group here, the best thing that they've done so far is win first down. And so they don't give up hardly any yards on 1st and 10, which puts everybody in long yardage situations, which leads them right where they want to be, so they can go ahead and pin their ears back and rush. So a big play in the game as we go through the game is going to be what we do on 1st and 10, because they're giving up 1.2 yards per play. And so that's not, that's the offense is playing backwards, when you're in long yardage all day. So Chubb and Gregory, they have guys that rotate in there behind them, Patrick and Barron. I mean, they're always somebody in there fresh that can come off the edge and hurt you if you don't do it right. So that's going to be the job of the tackles, but it's also going to be the job of the offense. Let's run the ball effectively. Let's stay ahead on the down and distance. Let's stay out of third and long, obvious passing situations. They've had an advantage so far in the first 3 games. So we got to do a good job of playing complementary offense.
Their culture with that organization, with their defensive backs, has been around for a while now.
Yeah.
What is that about? They really seem to draft well
Yep.
and prepare their defensive backs.
Yeah, they do a good job. Surtain's a really good player. Darby, they got him in free agency. I mean, and they drafted Simmons. So this is a team that is deep in the secondary. They're sticky in coverage when they play man-to-man. They do a good job of disguising what they do. They're well coached. So this is an entire the entire defense is a really good unit. So like I said, everybody's got a job to do. We're gonna have to play well together.
They have a 2-headed monster at running back, so they come at you in waves here, similar to what you're trying to do too.
Yeah. Tackling is going to be important. You can't let them get started, but when they do, when they hit a crease, we're going to need to get as many hats to the ball as we can. Both of them do a really good job of creating yards after contact, and so we're going to have to get them to the ground. That's going to be a really big focus for us this week. Worked hard on it yesterday. But they're both very capable backs. Both can catch the ball out of the backfield. Russell will throw the ball to them, no doubt about it. So they're going to have it more than anybody else. And so we're going to need to do a good job of tackling.
Let's wrap it up with Russell Wilson. All your years of being in this sport with the GOAT and watching him play, going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. They got off to a little bit of a rocky start. There's a lot of talk in Denver about their offense. When is it going to get going? What have you seen recently compared to the past, and what are you most concerned about coming into this one?
They have a good group, and whenever you change systems, you change coaches, you change players, which they've done all 3. I just think it takes some time, to get acclimated to each other, to get to know one another, and really be in total sync as you're playing offense. So especially in the passing game, but this guy is such an elite player. And he's such a positive influence. You watch him, and it's 10-5 in the second half of a game, and it doesn't look like it's 10-5 when you watch his body language. He's always upbeat. He's leading. He's talking positively to his group, and then he knows that he's been there before, and he's made those plays down the stretch. And just like he's done his entire career, the more critical the situation, the more he's going to have the ball in his hands, the more willing he will to extend plays, to run, to use his legs to create first downs, which he did the other day. He's just, they've been behind in the fourth quarter in every game, won 2 of them and could have won the other one. So, we're going to have to play a full 60 minutes for sure against Russell.
Good luck on Sunday, Coach.
Thanks a lot.